Hey man, I want you to brace yourself, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just uncomfortable. It's something that most men don't even want to believe is real, but it is. It's one of the most twisted, counterintuitive, and painful dynamics of attraction, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. You'll start recognizing it everywhere. In your past relationships, in the way certain women treated you, in the way they tested you, played with your emotions, praised you one moment and pulled away the next. You probably blamed yourself. You thought you did something wrong. But the brutal truth is often the opposite. It's not because they didn't want you. It's because they did. And that intense desire is what makes this dynamic so dangerous. See, when a woman truly desires a man not just for attention, not just for validation, but with that deep, primal, emotional hunger, she doesn't always behave the way you think she should. She doesn't always get sweeter. She doesn't always get more nurturing. Sometimes, she gets cruel. It's a subtle, soft, strategic cruelty, but it is cruelty nonetheless. This happens because in her desire, there is also fear. Fear of her own vulnerability, fear of you not choosing her back, fear of being too available and losing the upper hand. So, to manage that overwhelming fear, she flips the dynamic. She makes you feel insecure, she makes you doubt your worth, and while you're scrambling to figure out what you did wrong, she's watching. She's watching to see if you'll break. That's not love. That's a power play born from fear, and it's a game women often only play with the men they actually want. Most men live with this fantasy that when a woman is really into them, it will be obvious. They expect affection, consistency, and emotional openness. But women, especially in a world that teaches them to be guarded, aren't always taught to show love openly. They're taught to protect themselves, especially around a man they perceive as high-value, a man who could genuinely hurt them if they let their guard down. So, instead of leaning in, they often pull away. Instead of complimenting your strength, they tease you for a perceived weakness. Instead of showing raw desire, they mask it with a veneer of cool indifference. And here's the crazy part, it's intentional, not always consciously, but on a deep emotional level, it's a strategic defense mechanism. The moment she senses that you've got your life together, that you're emotionally strong, driven, disciplined, and have options, her fear of losing you kicks in. She doesn't want to get hurt, so she tests you. This isn't always malicious. In her mind, it's for her own security. She'll act cold to see if you chase, confirming that you're more invested than she is. She'll say something sharp, a subtle jab at your ego, just to watch how you respond. She'll go completely quiet after an amazing night together, just to gauge how much power her silence holds over your emotional state. And if you react, if you over-explain, if you chase her down for an answer, she loses respect. Her subconscious has just confirmed that she's still in control of the emotional frame, and therefore you are not the stable rock she thought you were. It's a messed up self-fulfilling prophecy, but it's how a lot of women manage intense desire. This is precisely why the guys who get played the hardest are often the ones women are most attracted to. It's the men who show real potential, the ones who lead, the ones who don't need her and, she knows it, that bring out her deepest insecurities. The average easy-to-control guy doesn't trigger this response because he poses no emotional threat. He's safe. But you, the man who could walk away without blinking, you are a threat to her emotional equilibrium. So instead of honoring that powerful connection, she sometimes tries to sabotage it. She will start arguments over nothing, pick at your confidence, or withhold affection. It's not because she doesn't want you. It's because she wants you so much that it terrifies her, so she tries to reverse the roles. To make you the one who's uncertain, to make you the one questioning your worth. And the more you react to it, the more you try to fix it with logic and reassurance, the deeper you fall into her trap. She isn't testing you because you're weak. She's testing you because she perceives you as strong and wants to see if she can shake that strength. It's like an engineer stress testing a bridge. She applies immense pressure to find the breaking point. She's not hoping it breaks, but she needs to know its limits before she feels safe enough to put her full weight on it. And your emotional stability is that bridge. It gets even darker when you realize that some women, particularly those with their own unresolved wounds, will intentionally wound you just to see if you'll still stay. This is where the cruelty becomes more overt. They'll pick at your deepest insecurities, the very ones you may have shared with them in a moment of vulnerability. They'll subtly remind you of your past failures. They'll compare you, directly or indirectly, to other men. And the moment you break, the moment you get angry, defensive, or emotional, that's when she knows she's got you. She doesn't actually want you broken, but she wants to know that she can break you, that she possesses that power. This is a twisted form of seeking security, a way of confirming her importance in your life. And this only happens when you truly matter to her. Think about the profound tragedy of that. She wouldn't go to these destructive lengths if she didn't care, if you were just another guy. But because she wants you, because she sees your strength, she feels an unconscious compulsion to tear it down just to see what you're really made of underneath. It's not healthy, it's not right, but it is real. And unless you learn how to hold your frame through it all, you'll spend your life trying to prove yourself to a woman who is only testing you out of her own deep-seated fear. Here is where most men go catastrophically wrong. They see her tests and her chaos, and they try to love their way out of it. They try to reassure her, comfort her, and chase her down when she pulls away. They try to soften their own energy, dim their own light so she doesn't feel threatened by their masculinity. But all that does is reinforce her deepest doubts. Now she sees you bending to her emotional whims, and her subconscious asks a terrifying question. If he will bend for me, who else will he bend for? If my emotional games can break his frame, what will a real-life crisis do? She starts to question your strength, your value, and your leadership. And the worst part, she starts losing attraction. Even though she caused the conflict, she now resents you for not standing your ground. You think you're being a loving, understanding partner. She sees weakness, and women do not fall in love with weak men, no matter how much they say they want sensitivity, vulnerability, and emotional openness. If those qualities are not wrapped in a core of unshakable strength, she will turn on them every time. You've probably experienced this before. You meet a woman, and things are going great. She's sweet, responsive, maybe even affectionate. Then, suddenly, she turns cold, distant, maybe even rude. You are left reeling, wondering what the hell just happened. You replay every conversation, every message, every interaction, trying to find the single moment where you went wrong. But here's the truth. You didn't go wrong. You went to right. You were calm, confident, and unbothered, and that made her nervous. It made her feel like she was the one who might fall too deep, too fast. So she yanked the emergency brake. She pulled back not to reject you, but to protect herself from the intensity of her own feelings. And if you chase her in that moment, you reinforce her fears and prove that you are, in fact, emotionally reactive. But if you stay grounded, calm, and patient, that's when she starts to trust you again. Because she sees that your strength isn't just a mask you wear on a good day. It's the very foundation of who you are. So, what do you do when faced with these tests? You don't retaliate. You don't get petty. You don't try to beat her at her own game. You must rise above it. You recognize the pattern. You see it for what it is. Emotional fear dressed up as attitude. And then you do the one thing most men are too afraid to do. You stop reacting. You hold your frame. You maintain your standards. You move forward with a calm, powerful indifference. This is not coldness. It is clarity. You don't need to fight. You don't need to chase. You don't need to prove anything. You just be. In that stillness, you create a powerful contrast. She sees that her chaos cannot shake you, that her tests do not control you, and slowly, one of two things will happen. She either steps up, or she steps away. Either outcome is a win for you. If she rises to meet your energy, now you've got something real, something grounded, something sustainable. But if she leaves, then good riddance. Because now you're not wasting your time and your life force on a woman who needs to break you just to feel safe. You are not a role player in someone else's emotional drama. You are the king of your own emotional kingdom. Here's the beautiful, liberating truth. Brother, once you master this, once you stop falling for the games, the tests, and the emotional bait, you become unshakable. And when you're unshakable, you don't chase, you don't beg, you don't apologize for your strength. You lead, you live. You let women who deserve you earn their place in your life. The rest, you let them fall away. This requires you to cultivate what can be called amused indifference. You see her tests not as personal attacks, but as the predictable antics of a frightened but interested party. You look at her provocations with the same detached amusement an adult would have for a child trying to get attention. This energy, not condescending, but calm and knowing, is a master-level response. It de-escalates her behavior while simultaneously demonstrating immense emotional strength. It communicates, I see what you're doing, and it doesn't affect me. That non-reaction is the one thing she doesn't know how to handle, and it forces her to recalibrate her approach. You become the mountain, unmoving, strong, and unshaken. And yes, she'll try to shake you. She'll say things that sting, she'll test your patience, she'll act like she doesn't care just to see if you'll unravel. But your job is not to react. It is to observe, to watch her behavior with clarity, and to never ever let her chaos become You're chaos, because the moment you match her storm with your own, you lose all polarity. Now you're just another emotionally reactive man, and there's nothing magnetic or safe about that.